Chamber for hosting this. Cognition Technology Center, they work with us all the time. A lot of times for our staff development at the schools, because we really don't have facilities like they do for staff development. They loan us their facilities for our staff development. We use that a lot, and it is a great asset to us. And it's great to have people that want to come out and find out what's going on, and we appreciate that. Before we get to the bond issues, just a little update on the world of education in Oklahoma. It's a whirlwind right now, but I don't know, I guess at 1 o'clock today we'll hear more from the leaders of the Oklahoma Education Association and what they have planned. And as soon as this meeting's over, because at this time yesterday I thought I had till April 23rd to handle all the issues with Stigler schools related to that. And so as soon as this gets over, and if you try to get a hold of me tomorrow, you're going to have a hard time catching me, because we'll be working with our employees, and I'll be working with everyone involved to do what we can to protect the class time and instruction time at Stigler schools as well. With that being said, please make no mistake that there is a teacher shortage in the state of Oklahoma. Okay? We can debate the particulars if you want to, but there is a current teacher shortage in the state of Oklahoma. All of the colleges put together are expecting this year to graduate about 500 education majors. Edmond, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa are projecting they're going to need 1,200 teachers to fill their shortages. Okay, do the math. It is a real problem. I don't know that pay is the only thing that matters. But I do know one thing. I had enough economics in college that says when demand is high, you might need to expect the price to go up. I mean, that's basic Econ 101. I can tell you the teachers that I've talked to at Stigler, no one wants to do this. No one. And there is a group of teachers statewide that want to do it before testing to put more pressure. The teachers that I've talked to at Stigler said, we want tests. We've worked all year. Our kids have worked all year. It's important to us and them. So there's a huge divide statewide. We're fortunate. We filled every position this year. Of our 100 certified employees, we only have 2 that are on emergency certification. Tulsa had 100 positions go unfilled. They've had long-term subs in the classroom all year. So everybody's kind of fighting for their part of the world, and like I said, I'll be working tomorrow. The OEA will make their announcement today, and then I will be in Oklahoma City bright and early Tuesday morning for an administrators meeting, and then I'll be back here Wednesday, and we'll start working with our employees to see what direction that's going to go. So that's the latest update there. So now back to what you really came here for. Find out about the bond. I finally stumped Google today. It was a neat thing. I Googled good jokes for bond election presentations.
There were none.
There were none. No. Google let me down without fail. Okay, so it was a bad deal for that. I haven't started buying my lottery tickets yet, but we'll got to wait and see what the jackpot is so I can tell you if I'm going to win it and give the school district an interest-free loan, or I'm going to pay the whole thing off. I got to find out what the payoff is on that yet. But so as soon as we get there, I'll let you know. Before we get first, I'm going to have Ms. Mayhall come forward and kind of address some of the issues that she's facing at the current elementary side. And before we do that, I want to give her staff some recognition. And as a superintendent, you see a lot of things, but I'm also married to an elementary teacher. And so I see other sides of it. And last week was Dr. Seuss week at the elementary. And a lot of you are saying, so the amount of time and energy and effort that her staff put out last week to display to students that reading is fun, that education is important, that it is also a very enjoyable part of life. This is going to cost me money next year. I did not get one single purchase request for things that were done at the elementary last week, which means every one of those teachers that provided extra things for their class every day last week paid for it out of their pockets. Not one of them seen a request to get reimbursed. We have a very, very dedicated staff that put in a lot of time and effort and their own money to do everything they can to help our children be educated. And I just wanted to throw that shout out there to Ms. Mayhall and her staff, because they're doing a great job. I walked into her office a few weeks ago and she had a young man in there that was having some trouble. I could tell just from looking that this guy was not catching any signals from body language or anything, okay? Because, I mean, you know, you're come on, and so finally I pulled him aside and I said, hey, listen, we need to talk. I'm going to try to help you. This is a life lesson. It'll help you forever. He said, okay. What do you need to do when Miss Mayhall gives the one hip out and the hand on hip? He said, quiet down. I said, good answer. I said, what do you do when her neck starts turning red? He said, I get quiet. I said, what do you do when she rolls her eyes at you? He said, I'm going to roll her back. Yeah, he can get those eyes right back to you, and he was not going to throw them. So, no, Miss Mayhall, come forward, and she's just going to, like I said, kind of give you a layout on some issues that she's dealing with, that she deals with on a daily basis at the elementary.
Well, he's right in that I have the greatest staff ever that makes my job so wonderful. I do have a great, wonderful job that I love. I love the children. Love making a difference in their lives. I've done it for 28 years and hope for a couple more. Anyway, so just some things that are concerning for me as the instructional leader in our building. Of course, you know, safety is my #1 job. I'm going to talk more today about the instructional side of things. So, for a main concern of mine, we take about 30 minutes per day per class to transition from one place to another. Some of the students walk anywhere from 1 to 2 blocks to get where they need to go, whether it be computer lab or music lab or PE or back to the lab. You know, they're not in the main building, they're going to the library. Our special ed classes are all in the main building per state law. So any of our pull-out kiddos are moving around quite a bit all day. Our remedial reading classes are in the main building. Actually, we have very few regular ed classes in our main building because we have to house our education services there, our special education services there. So it becomes a real issue when we have severe weather. Time on task is important. Our teachers are under so much pressure to perform for the children, to get them to perform well on the state mandated tests that we know don't really measure the true what kids can do, but we can't seem to convince our lawmakers and our state officials that have never taught in the classroom that that's not how it is. So our teachers put in all this extra time and they work with the kids and they try so hard to get the kiddos to understand, you know, you're going to do your best. I'm going to get you to that point where you can do your best. To have, I'll give you a scenario of what happened one year during testing. This was not when I was principal, but I do remember it happening. Kiddos are in a portable building, very high anxiety with some children with weather. I used to be one of those kids. I don't know how I would have reacted as a kid in a portable building because I struggled in a regular building. But some kids get very anxious, and teachers are great to calm them down or, you know, to give them the time they need. Anytime there's a severe thunderstorm warning, I remove students from the portables because in those moments, we all know it can happen quickly, and so I don't want them traveling in the middle of a tornado warning. I'd much rather them be traveling before that severe part hits. So their whole, all the time that they are removed from their classroom is disrupted. Whether they have to go to another classroom and disrupt that classroom, or go to a hallway and sit, or the cafeteria and sit and wait their time out, they're losing instruction time. So that, for me, is huge, because my job as the instructional leader of that school, and I know they're missing out on much needed time. But back to what I was talking about with the testing. These tests, if you've never been through a 3rd or 4th grade testing episode, everyone should experience it. Teachers are required by law to sit through webinars and meetings and sign their names to affidavits on how they're not going to give one answer or look at a child or answer a question. I mean, it's ridiculous. No one ever that I can imagine in a profession has to do such a thing, but they do it. And so do the monitors that go into their classroom. Every monitor that we have for state mandated tests has to go through training and all the things that the state requires. So it's a big deal. Our schedules are completely rearranged to accommodate state testing when it comes time. So the students are in the portable buildings, which we have 3 3rd grade classes and 2 4th grade classes in portable buildings. So one year we start testing, and you know, weather's fine. There's some rain, and a thunderstorm brews up in the middle of this testing. So the students have to be removed from that location. But because of that, when we send that in, they completely say, this is invalid. They have to do this again. The students get to take this test again. This teacher has to give this test again. That is unacceptable. We have put so much pressure on our teachers and our kids for 9 months to expect them to have to redo that because the facility they're in was not a safe place to be, and they had to be removed. Not their choice. You know, they're giving it all they have. But there were many times throughout the years that I've given tests in portable buildings with heavy rainstorms that the students can't hear me. And we are not allowed to repeat. You can't even repeat instructions. That is how serious it is. And your monitor's sitting there and they're writing things down. It's very tense. It's a very tense situation. So when you put people into those kind of situations, they should have an opportunity not to have the disruption of having to retake that test or redo that test. It's really not fair to the kids at all. So to me, that's the most extreme instance I can think of. But when you think about, you know, weather in Oklahoma, it happens all the time that the children are being removed. Or severe thunderstorm warning, I don't let them move around. If it's lightning, I don't let them outside. I agree that time on task is important, but their lives are more important, and I know that lightning strikes are very possible in our little neck of the woods. So I'm cautious about it, and our teachers do a great job trying to make up for that time lost. But there is a lot of time lost on our campus from the movement that we have, and the outside and the inside and back and forth. First graders, when they go to the library or to the nurse, they walk about a block. And they do now have an awning to stay under all the way, but that doesn't, safety issue. We can't walk with every first grader. We don't have the manpower to walk with 100 first graders all day to their classes. So they miss out. They miss out on a lot of instructional time. And well, I said state law requires all of our special education classes in that main building, so that, including speech, so that leaves a lot of our regular ed kids in the portables. I just feel it's asking a lot of 9 and 10-year-olds to be put under that kind of pressure. When they don't have to be. And then again, our teachers put in so much time and effort to get them ready and prepared for the next grade. Another thing that we really struggle with is our ability to keep up with technology in our current location. We cannot continue to keep up with what we need with our current electrical systems. I would invite anyone, and I've asked this so many times, and I have had 3 people come to do a tour of the grade school, and of course I would ask that it would be either before school or after school or on a weekend. I'd be glad to come and look and see what kind of patchwork we have to try to keep our school running, to try to keep computers running and smart boards running. You will be amazed if you will come and look to see what we've had to do to try to just be on the, no, we're not on the cutting edge of technology, but just what we have to have. We have a grant coming up that we're hoping to get for our reading program. We've worked really hard. It's a very substantial grant that could give us so much in technology. My concern, how are we going to implement it? How are we going to get the programs going? Because we don't have what we need. We don't have the resources to make that work. So all of those things also, affect our instructional time. Space. We do not have space. We do not have the space that we need. It is embarrassing when counselors come to see kids and they go to a broom closet. It is. I try to make my office available or another area if possible, but in any given day we have 3 to 4 therapists in and out for occupational therapy, for physical therapy, and then we also have probably 7 to 10 visiting counselors that come and visit our children that need extra help when they're going through difficult times. We have DHS at our school once or twice a week to visit with kids. So we have a lot of in and out, people needing a place to be, but we can never say, oh, you go to this room or that room. It's oftentimes, in fact, I walked in last Friday. I'd been in kindergarten for a little while, and I came back and I started going to my office, and Ms. Trickett said, oh, there's a counselor there with a kid. Okay, that's normal, and I expect that, but it is embarrassing when we don't have a facility that will accommodate the needs of our children, and that is the bottom line. What are the needs of the children? And we need a better facility to serve the children. So I have gone over all of those things in the past, all the safety things that we need. But Mr. Guthrie asked me today to stay with our instructional issues. And I take my job very seriously. You can ask my staff that. And number 1 is safety, and number 2 is instruction of the children and their needs and what they need. And so this is all about doing what's best for them. It really has nothing to do with anything else except these children need and deserve a place to learn, and to learn in an environment that they feel safe and they're not uprooted into some situation that they're scared or anxious in. So that's all I have for now. I would entertain any questions that you have for me as far as if you have a safety question, yes, sir.
You have 13 different portable buildings, 46 separate entrances. Would you agree that it would kind of be hard to secure in an instance that we had a Columbine or active shooter incident?
There's no way to secure that.
Absolutely.
And I said before, when I spoke at the last chamber meeting, the teachers that are in those portable buildings, when I call for a lockdown, they have to put their head outside the door to lock the door because state fire marshal does not allow us to lock from the inside because there's only one. So if you've been around the grade school, which I know all of you have driven that area, they don't have to be on our campus to do damage to those portable buildings. They're trailer. And the weapon that was used in the Florida shooting a couple of weeks ago, those walls in those portable buildings, they're nothing. It wouldn't matter if there was a lockdown or not. You know, I get really excited to think that in a possibility of a lockdown situation, that I could have every student secure in 30 or less seconds, because they would all be under one roof and not here and there and in an unsafe building. I get really excited thinking that. So, but yes, those are all huge concerns. Our current building, you know, the moved building, we can no longer even put our children in the hallways of that building during a tornado because the Safe School Committee said, you're looking at a wind tunnel. They will be sucked out immediately. That's the worst place they can be.
And one of the main buildings has entrance and exit doors in each classroom, right?
Yes.
Probably
well,
7 or 8.
The main building?
Well, not the main building, but one of the main structures, probably the oldest structure.
The oldest structure.
It has the entrance and an exit door on each side.
On each end,
correct?
yes, correct. Any other questions? Yes.
I know that a lot of schools are going to one-on-one, like tablets or Chromebooks or something like that. If we were to ever go there, do we have the network infrastructure to support something like that?
That would be into the millions of dollars to make that happen at where we are.
In order just to get the backbone of it to be able to do it.
With what we have right now, it'd have to be completely restructured. And it would cost billions to make that happen.
What about a new building? Would it be?
The new building would be everything that we need for technology and beyond would be available. If we were to get the grants that we're looking at and we were able to put one-on-one computers with students, the accessibility would be there immediately. Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Next person I'd like to introduce to you all, I really don't like talking school safety and security out in public, okay? It's very uncomfortable with me. I've been through some traumatic things while at school. I've seen the effects, and it's a very uncomfortable situation. Following the September bond election, I came to work. It's either a day or two afterwards, and one of my secretaries said, a lady from Longtown called and said she would like to be involved in your next bond issue. And just to be honest, at that time, my first thought was, I don't want to talk to any lady from Longtown about a bond issue. That's the truth. And but I called her, and her story, the real life story, I'd never have the nerve to call someone that I knew that was in that situation and say, hey, would you come and talk to us? She called because she's committed to school safety throughout Oklahoma. And she has nothing to gain on this deal, other than the fact that she wants to make a difference. So I'm going to introduce Miss Stacy McCabe. Would you come and talk to the Stigler residents, please? Okay.
I'd like you to meet somebody. This is my little man. And here's 6 of his classmates. The last time anybody ever saw these 7 children was May the 20th of 2013 in the city of Moore. An F5 tornado came through there and took their lives because they did not have a safe room. I didn't know they had a safe, didn't have a safe room. It wasn't a big issue at the time. Even in the city of Moore, we'd gone through numerous tornadoes, but they never hit a school when school was in session. He was in school. Sessions was over, but they were on a time that they couldn't leave because the tornado was coming. The hallway that you were just talking about, I'm sorry, I tried really hard not to cry, but the hallway that you were talking about, I could see my son, when she was talking about that, hovered down like an innocent lamb for slaughter because the building was not correctly structured. Yes, that's the city of Moore. Since then, I have fought tooth and nail, and every one of these parents have to. We got with Representative Mark McBride from the city of Moore. We got together with John Echo. He's a state legislator. We started Shelter Oklahoma Schools because we didn't want another parent to ever have to join this class. It's not right for you to be able to send your kid to school and never see them the next time. The hell and the torment and the terror that I lived through that night, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. You're out here. I have nothing to lose, nothing to gain. I've done lost my little guy. I'm fixing to celebrate 5 years without my little man. I drive to work every day and I see a school bus picking up kids. My little man never got to ride a bus. He went to Y before and after care. He never got to ride a bus. He loved coming down here to the lake on the weekends. He never got to go to the Canadian schools. He would have loved it down here. Your kids at this age are allowed to play with guns. They go out and shoot deer. They go out and shoot turkeys. I'm not only here for the school safety of a tornado, of a safe route. How many tornadoes have we had? I've only been down here for almost 3 years. And how many tornadoes have we had come so close? I didn't have anybody say to me, is your school safe? We're living in a sick, sick world right now. We have to protect our kids. You have that opportunity. The most you're going to pay is $17 a month on taxes. I'd pay it for you if it was to protect your kids, your families, your teachers, your administrators. I am still in constant contact with a lot of those teachers that walked away from that day. I'm actually in contact with the teacher that had 6 of these students in her class. She was holding my son's hand the day he died. That's how dedicated they are to their classes. You have the opportunity to not be in this class and not put anybody else in this class. We just had an incident at some high school kid. Well, he has access to these guns. We don't have enough resources right now for any kind of mental health. They're cutting it day by day by day in the legislative people. They don't think about that. The opportunity to have a safe environment for kids should be the #1 priority in the state of Oklahoma, irregardless of where they live. Doesn't matter if you're down here in Stigler, doesn't matter if you're in the city of Warren. They just passed a big old bond issue that every one of their schools will have safe rooms in them. Well, 7 people too late. They should have done it a long time ago when that very first school got hit. That hallway, I can see my little man having to hover down in that, knowing and hearing that tornado coming right there to them. And they can't do anything but just hover down. I've met with the people from Newtown, Connecticut. I've met one of those mothers that no longer has her child because somebody decided to go in there and get ugly and shoot these kids. What? They're innocent kids. But if you have the lockdown system, like she's talking about, we talked about this last week, the idea of having, 20, 25 kids in one little portable building and knowing that you can just go out here on this street beside it. I've only been in that school once. Scared me half to death. Because you walk into that school, you get buzzed in, you got free reign after that. That's not right. You should have exits, entrances that are enforced in other ways. That's what this bond issue is for. You should be able to have safe rooms for those kids to go to. They shouldn't have to be outside. They shouldn't be set out in a portable building for slaughter. They're metal. Lightning and metal don't go together. We all know that. I have nothing to gain and I have nothing to lose. But every one of you knows somebody that's in that school, is a teacher, administrator, has friends that have kids, have grandparents that have grandkids. This is your opportunity. What really made it a big issue with me is that they were 170 votes short of it passing with the majority. 170 votes. In more, you wouldn't even have gotten that close. Don't take another incident before you have to have it again. Here's your second opportunity. Don't make it a third opportunity. $17 a month. Don't go out to dinner. Hey, come to my house, I'll fix you dinner. I don't care. You don't know how many times I've gone and seen little people and wonder, what would mine be doing? What would mine look like? I went to her school and I couldn't go past the very beginning because I saw students in the school. Another thing, I spoke to him way back in what followed last year. He finally contacted me. The day I was coming here to meet with him and the rest of the people that were involved in getting this going, I prayed hard. Because I don't want to get up here and make a fool out of myself. I for sure want God to get all this glory. But I drive by that school site down there. It is red and black. My little man's school was red and black. He was a Plaza Panther. So I knew I was supposed to be here. I have had a migraine. I have been sick to my stomach, just the thought of getting up here to talk to y'all. But I want to press through because this is important. We have been fighting for 5 years to get safe rooms in every school in the state of Oklahoma. All the way down to Broken Bow, all the way up in the Panhandle, I don't care. I want that for every parent to know that they can be safe when their kids are at school. I didn't have the opportunity to run to the school, but I thought my baby was safe until I found out he wasn't. You have that opportunity right now to make that difference. make it for future generations. This is Nicholas Scott McKay, and he didn't get to come home from school that day. And the next time I got to see him was in a casket, because his school was not safe. The 17 families in Florida. No. It shouldn't even be let's just fight about this. This should be a done deal. Should have been a done deal last time. I'm sorry, that's all.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Appreciate it. I know that's not easy. I can't imagine going through that. But, and for anyone that wants to say, oh, Monty's out there getting dramatic, my answer to you is that's real. That's not drama right there. When I go to administrative conferences and they start talking about school safety, those are the kind of things that I hear and that I have to come back and deal with. We are having our Safe Schools Committee on the 15th of March, our meeting with the Office of Homeland Security, the Emergency Management System, and all the area of law enforcement and emergency services. And we're taking a look at district-wide, tightening things up, and I know what happens. Everything, you can rock along for a while and nothing happens and things get lax. And then something happens somewhere else in the country and the rest of the country says, oh, I better wake up and go back to work on that. And so we took it as a wake-up call and we're going back to work. Y'all know how good I am at following a PowerPoint, so I'll apologize in advance. Why do we need a bond issue? And I've started several times to do the research, but I always get it. Do y'all know how many local community dependent schools there were 80 years ago in this area? Tomahawk, Garland, Hoyt, all those. Okay, well, they're no longer there, and all of their people have come here, and we still have the same building. But we started adding in portables, and that's the way we've dealt with growth and expansion. Has already been brought out. 46 separate exits and entrances into Stigler Elementary School. I would prefer, before someone wants to bring, I would prefer the middle school playground not be as close to the road as it is too. Okay, so I'm not trying to exclude or leave anybody out there, but we've got a full drive around of our playground at the elementary, and we don't have a tornado shelter as a community. The other thing is, since 2006, we spent just under $500,000 on portable buildings. I have checked lately. I don't plan on buying any, but my bet is they cost more now than they did. In the last 39 years, would anyone want to guess how much a local investment has been made into Stigler Public Schools facilities? $1.925 million. Over 39 years. There's been the whopping investment of under $2 million. What can you build to take care of 1,300 students for $2 million? Over a 40-year period. Oh, wasn't even born then. Y'all believe that? No. It's a good try though. I haven't focused a lot this time on the design of what we're proposing because it's very similar to the last one. I got a lot of questions and comments and a few complaints and all that, but the basic design of the building, I never got one. Maybe color or the way it faced or whatever, so we kind of left that one alone. There was some debate on the size. We had 40 classrooms, and so, which gave us some room for additional growth. And then, right here in the cafeteria, it was just a little under 8,000 square feet, including the kitchen. And the whole thing would have been safe room. And we made a little change there, and where we cut the safe room off at the dining room, not including the kitchen. So between the 4 classrooms that we cut off and the downsizing the safe room, which still gives us about 5,000 square feet of safe room, and is typically, obviously, kids in a hurry wouldn't need 5 square feet to stand in a safe room, but that's what it goes by, so it'd be rated for around 1,000 people. It's the bond issue will be a $12.29 million bond issue with the school contributing out of its building fund up to $60,000 a year, and that is a 20% tax increase. 20%, it's a lot. I wish it were less. But when you go from 2004 to now with making 0 investment, it requires some really stepping up to meet the need that's been neglected for a while. If the assessed value of your home, and before you start doing the math and say he doesn't know how to calculate property tax, okay? I did the number with the homestead exemption and the number without the homestead exemption, and kind of got a round number in the middle, okay? Because it matters. So it's hard to just say this is the number. So if your assessed value is at $100,000, it's going to cost you about $13.33 a month. The median home value, that is not the median assessed home value. How many of you know what your assessed home value is in this room? How many of you would sell that home for the value that it's assessed? Come on, I've got one in Poto right now. I will sell you for the assessed value right now. No one will sell their home for the assessed value. Okay, I'm leaving that alone. But the average home value is $85,000, or the median home value is $85,500. That's $11 a month is your tax increase. If everyone had their property assessed at the value you would be willing to sell it at right now, that number would be a whole lot less. Is it going to affect the cost if you go to the grocery store or whatever? I'll let y'all debate that. Is the convenience store going to raise the price of a pack of gum from, I don't even know, I don't chew gum anymore. I went in there the other day going to get me I thought you could still get a pack for 25 cents. I was wrong. Okay? But, you know, I can't tell you that. Tell you that it is America. So here's be my prediction. Some people would eat it. Some people would mark it up about what it cost them and they'd break even. And then there's a group that would gouge you. Okay, they would say, oh, my property taxes went up this much, so I had to double the price. Okay? That's what's going to happen. But the fact that investment in school, and I've done so much research and so much looking and everything. You know, you can find the fastest growing small towns in Oklahoma. Okay, they're all investing in school facilities, every one of them, every one on the list. There are none with zero. What we're doing different this time. How are the numbers different? Okay, we've already talked about reducing the size of the safe room, and I sat right in this building and told you all last time that we were building more safe room than we needed. Because if for a few more dollars, I could put the entire north side of Stigler in a safe room, I thought it was worth it. It's the first time this year I was wrong. Y'all gotta get some humor. Tell me. Anyway, in the modifications there, we're projecting a savings of about $650,000. The school picking up a portion of the payment also helps. Why are you doing that? Because if my options are putting it in a permanent structure or putting it in more portable buildings, I pick the permanent structure.
Monty, do we do bids? Do different people get the bid on this? Companies get the bid on the construction of this?
Yes, sir.
That will be the plan, somebody will bid on it?
Well, we'll use it. How many board members are here? My recommendation would be to use a construction management company. That way you get to bid everything. Whereas a general contractor, most of the general contractors, you have some area there, but you don't have as much say-so in exactly who gets used.
Well, that's where you get in trouble.
Yes, exactly. That's why.
I've worked for two of the biggest oil companies in the world for 40 years, and I've seen some of it to the point that they got gouged so bad in different places that they finally got people that actually knew what they were doing, and they come under budget and under budget and less time that they extended out and wondered, well, how were we so stupid that we did all this other construction and got ripped on all the rest of it? I've never done that and seen it.
I personally have a personal relationship with 2 construction management companies. We would open it up statewide, and then the board would select which construction management company that they would build. Okay, the last one. It was $15 million bond for $9.7 million available to spend. That $5.3 million is a lot of money that's going to be paid in interest and fees and all that, and I realize that. With cutting the size down, with the school contributing, we've actually been able to cut 4 years off the terms of the payoff. So that has brought the 15 million down to the 12.29 million. It reads, the last proposal was a 15.5 mills increase. This one's a 16 mills. So we've cut the term down, we've cut the amount of tax increase down, and we've cut the total amount to be borrowed down. Of course, we would work with the city. The police department would have keys to the safe room. After hours, it would be open to the community. That's the main reason that we did it in the dining room of the cafeteria, because there is nothing in the school system easier to pick up, move, and relocate than cafeteria tables. So we can get those cleared out in a big hurry, and we can house a lot of people in our safe room there. Also, our booster basketball, we ran out of gym space this year. We did a partnership with Whitefield to use their facility, but we had more interest in coming to Stigler to play basketball on Saturday mornings all the way to Saturday evenings than Stigler had facilities to accommodate their kids.
One Whitefield back for.
You better hurry. The election's April 3rd. Appreciate you getting out to vote. I will give Haskell County, or Stigler School District, a big round of applause. Since September, October, November, and February, Owasso, Midwest City, and there's one other really big school, are the only 3 school districts in the state of Oklahoma that got more people to the polls than Stigler did on September the 12th. Okay. Now, and you want to ask, why are we coming back with something as similar as it is, as soon as it is, all of those questions? My answer is, number one, there were almost twice as many yes votes in September 12th than in any previous bond election. It didn't get 60%, and yes, there were more no votes than usual. We tried to make some modifications. Why didn't we do it all? Start all over and everything. I don't know how familiar everyone in here is on how a school system is designed to work, but typically, I work for the board. Typically, I make recommendations to the board, and they decide to approve or disapprove what my recommendation is. If y'all think I get any joy or pleasure whatsoever out of running the bond election, you've never been more wrong in your entire life. If this wasn't needed, and if this wasn't the plan that I am totally sold on, that I think it's what we need, we would not be doing this right now.
Well, Lonnie, I feel sorry for you, and I feel sorry for you because I know what you're up against, and you've got, sad but true, we've got our little jail fiasco that everybody's got in the back of their minds, that we know that this county inherited that from some bad decisions that have been made, and it's nobody's fault in this room.
Exactly.
Because it's, we just basically, we got taken advantage of, and that's the mentality that you're having to face right now, because there's a bad taste in people's mouth over that deal that we're struggling, because we got some people in here that have intimate relations with that committee, and they know it's struggling, the county's struggling just to make those payments, because we were, we got an under the table deal. And that's what you're facing right there, and that's the reason why it's such a holdup in this county, because of bad management in the past. Saying the truth. I mean, I hate to say that, that's basically, that's the true fact.
I understand that, and all I can tell you is our projections are based on 2% growth. Okay, the last 20 in net assessed valuation. Okay,
you agree that this tax in the school is a whole separate issue from the jail and current funding that the county receives? Whole separate issue.
There's no.
Has nothing to do with current funding that the jail or the county receives?
No. Totally separate. Totally separate. And the money comes into a bond sinking fund to the school, and the only place that money can go is to the payment. There is no other option. There is no other direction it can go.
How many years is the bond?
It's 19 years to pay off. They call it a 16-year bond because it's 16 years of series, but it's 19 years to pay off, as opposed to 23.
So if people are voting against this because of the jail issue, basically they're punishing the children of the community
Right.
for longer
Yes.
Yeah, but that's what you're facing.
Well, right, I understand, that's a reality. Yeah.
They're looking at, you've got that mindset, well, that was mismanagement then. Is that gonna happen again? That's what you're facing right there.
Well, that's a difference.
So
between
you
sales tax
got
and
to put
property tax.
that away, reassure people that this is being done right.
That's what I was. You're set up on the value of property increasing, okay? We have established our numbers based on a 2% growth. The 25-year history of Stigler School District is over 3% per year. Okay, so we are underestimating growth historically by 33%. We have calculated the projected interest rates a little higher than we think they are, just so that we can be sure and give people what they're asking for at the price we're saying.
Would you agree that for the first time in 10 years, the cost to borrow money is rising?
Yes, it is.
And the cost of materials is rising, as this could have been done 5 years ago or 10 years ago for cheaper as it can be done right now today, cheaper than it could 5 or 10 years ago. Would that be accurate?
I would agree with that, yes.
I have a question that I hear a lot about is that they're asking why can't they do some of this? There's like on Facebook, I see, why aren't they paying it with other ways of paying for it? Why does it have to be this way? Why can't they get grants, or why can't they, or what have you? I hear that a lot, and I agree we need a new school, because I'm going to add to the tornado, because I worked at Head Start, and this gets me upset. When I first got here, never been through a tornado, and the bus driver that had 10 little 3 and 4 year olds on that bus decided to go to the community shelter. And I didn't understand why, because I ran over there and got in there with them. It was dark in there. I had women in there smoking like this. I had a guy had been drinking, and we had some little social 3 and 4 year olds that were talking to him that wanted them to come sit in his lap. That's where those kids had to go, because that bus driver was raised here and she was scared to take them to the school. And I didn't get that whenever I went over there, and I had these little 3 and 4 year olds sitting in the hallway crying because those doors are slamming. That freaks me out. So I really need to, I don't really care the past part. I don't really care if I have to pay $300 or $400. I don't care the money part. But what I don't understand in getting this done, it's like, just get it done, you know. But the big question, a lot of people go, well, why don't they pay it for someone else? And I don't understand all the politics about this, but what is that? That's the question. I don't know how to answer that.
Oklahoma is set up for local communities to make decisions on their school facilities and local communities to pay for it.
Okay.
Article 10, Section 26 of the Oklahoma Constitution.
I just want to be able to argue that whenever they ask me, because I just
The
don't
bonding
know.
companies will not do it on the sales tax.
Well,
Because you get in the same situation that you get into with the jail.
the
Because they're
school
unpredictable.
the school would have to do it through a city. The school cannot.
I mean, there's not nobody in this room that lives here knows we don't need a school. Lord, we need a school bad, you know, and I hope we get it, we need one. But like I said, you've got that mentality out there that's people that's not in this room, that they're going, well, we're going to get in the same boat we was before, you know, so that's what we're fighting.
Bonnie, we've seen where several jails, not several, but a few around the state have failed on there. I think Sallisaw did, or Sequoia County did. How many schools have failed or defaulted on their bonds that they voted in?
I can't find any. Can't find any.
They're put together differently, aren't they?
I actually talked to the mayor about this, and he said that there is no way a financial institution would foreclose on a school in a situation if that came up. There is no way. But it's not set up to fail like that, because it's set up on property tax, not a sales tax. Amazon.com doesn't take over your property. It does a sales tax.
Any other questions? Yes.
On the end of Selborne Road, they're building this sports complex that very few people that you'll ever know gets to play in that or doing that. And we don't have a vote on that at all. But for our kids, 3/4 of Haskell County is going to go through our school. And that's something that we need to think about, that we have a vote on.
You're right. The bottom line, you know, I think it's just me as the school superintendent. I'd just like to see us all come together. Let's get this problem solved. I can't see how in the world it's going to get cheaper. I can't. And I don't see it going away.
Lumber's up 25%, steel's up 35% in 1 year.
Well, the first one we done was completed for $7 million, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the first time we tried to pass a bond issue, was $7 million. Now they're worth 13, you said?
1229.
Well, how'd you come up with that number?
How did I come up? As far as the total financing?
Have you had bids, everything on what you're gonna do to get you?
No, I have an architect, and then I have a construction management company that just finished an elementary school with safe rooms. And I worked with them to establish some preliminary costs. So the preliminary, when we started working on this, when I started working with the financial advisors 3 months ago, no one's going to bid something as far as a true bid that's not going to start construction for 6 or 8 months. So you just have to go with those people that are in the business, that are building similar and like projects, and work with them. No, I beat myself up last time that we did this because I didn't know everything about construction. I didn't know everything about finance, and it hit me that about 2.5 years ago, I had a heat-related illness, and I was in the ambulance. I didn't say heat stroke because it wasn't a stroke. I was in the ambulance going to Tulsa, and it dawned on me that I never thought to tell that ambulance driver to take me to the medical school so I can learn to be a doctor. Okay? I went to people trained to do that do it for a living, that do it all day, every day, and I put my faith in them, and I made it back alive. So I'm not beating myself up anymore. I'm going to become as knowledgeable as I possibly can as a school superintendent, but as close as I have to an expertise is in education. And I'm ready to get this done, put this thing behind me, so I can really put my full attention and concentration on the education side of Stigler Public Schools. Any more questions?
What about the operating costs? Once it gets less or anything else,
Well, we ran some analysis on that last time, and with the 46 exterior doors and the old outdated buildings and everything, it is truly our belief that we can operate a new facility cheaper than it takes to run an old one. Now, I ran the analysis, and I called a lot of different people, and I can make those numbers show anything you want me to make them show. I mean, I'm being honest. I mean, I could have shown them a third, I could have shown them to increase. But I really think the fact that we're not efficient right
I know that the vote is not quite a month away, and so there's a lot of time between now and then, but the deadline for registration to vote is
tomorrow.
So if you wanted to do something today, one of the things you can do today is encourage people
Get people to vote.
Register to vote.
Get people registered if they're going to vote. Yes.
And Tommy, I've got forms, voter registration forms out on this table. If there's anyone that needs those, you can deliver them to the Haskell County Election Board, or you can put them in the mail. The only thing, if you mail it, it has to be postmarked by midnight the 9th.
And if you register someone, make sure they check the 2 boxes. That's the biggest problem that they have, is that they don't check the 2 boxes down the bottom, so therefore they don't get registered. Because we don't have enough time to go back and call, and I don't think they're gonna just be calling people to get that done, they'll just deny it.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.